Hey everybody, this is True Disciple bringing you another StarCraft 2 commentary, and today I am bringing you a live matchup. This is the clan IPS going up against the clan NK, and this will be Biscuit playing as Zerg and DeLoAdEr playing as Terran. I'm pretty excited about this matchup. I apologize ahead of time for my raspy voice, but I had a fun night last night, so spoke very loudly all night long, and so now I have a bit of a sore throat. So, oh my, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to go into the options here and just turn off those annoying... I really hate that when you have the... I always have the unit status bars shown when I'm playing, but when casting, I definitely don't want that, so let me turn that off so it's just for selected. So here we have Biscuit, who is spawning up in the top left corner, and we have DeLoAdEr, who's spawning over here in the top right corner. So they're in pretty close flight distances. And as we can see, Biscuit is flying over his overlord in the right direction, which would be the normal thing to do, would fly it in that direction, as of course the scout will head down here first, as this is the closest distance by ground. So they're on close distances by air, but they still have to kind of go all the way around. As you can see, you have to drop down here to the natural, and then drop here, and then cut all the way across the map. And even that's not a straight shot, as you have to cut through a bunch of stuff over here. So we got some destructible rocks that can kind of free this up here and make this a little bit faster, as well as an expansion between them. But I assume that they'll both be expanding in this direction, maybe going for these expansions here, and then dropping down for these expansions here and here. And here we can see the DeLoAdEr just throwing down a barracks down near his ramp, not quite completely, so he's not walling off. I'm not sure why he's deciding to not wall off at this moment, as he is going up against a Zerg. I know that if you're playing against a Protoss or another Terran, you'll tend to try to keep your barracks and your buildings away from the ramp, as you don't want them to get sniped by Marines and Marauders or by Stalkers and Sentries. And here we see a little high five as these this probe and this SCV and this drone just kind of pass by, and everything's pretty natural here. We have Biscuit going down for his early hatch, so it's a hatch over pool, and there goes the pool on 15. So a very late pool for Biscuit. So, but not that bad in this current setup. But DeLoAdEr could apply some early pressure. He is going for an early tech lab, so we might either see some Marauders or maybe a Reaper. Biscuit forced to scout all the way around the base before finally finding this barracks and where it is. You guys can profit from the spectators that are making all kinds of cool comments right now. So DeLoAdEr kind of chilling out here. I'm wondering if we're going to see an early Reaper with a... I think we might see a bunker, some kind of bunker harassment here. Biscuit, very smart. This is very smart as Zerg, positioning one of your overlords right over this hatchery as it's forming. Because as you may or may not know, when you're playing Zerg, when you're putting down a hatchery, the only vision you have is within one unit of the building that's building until it's built. So anything that's even right here being built, you won't see. But with an Overlord there will help see it. Now, of course, he's going to see this coming, and so Biscuit's going to come over here and try to take care of this. He's going to try to kill the SCV, cornering that SCV, but DeLoAdEr very smartly clicking on minerals to get it out, and so he can ghost walk right through. But here comes that first Reaper. And they're going to kill, but the Zerglings are out, and this is a very nice play from Biscuit, taking care of that SCV. The bunker will not finish, and of course, this Reaper will not be able to do much harassment, but he is able to kill off some Zerglings very nicely. He does some very good damage. They do very good damage against light, with that extra 9 damage instead of 4 when they're fighting against light. But he needs to watch out for the creep, because the Zerglings do move fast enough to catch him if he is on the creep. So, of course, what he wants to do is lure those Zerglings off the creep, where he's able to kill them, where he's able to kite them, as he can move faster. Here we see that DeLoAdEr deciding that he's going to throw down a barracks of his own. Let's bring up that an expansion of his own. Let's bring up the production tab, see what's going on there. We see speed is going down for Biscuit. And we see that Marines are coming out for DeLoAdEr. At the moment, he is throwing down a factory as well. So I'm wondering if he's going to go straight into some mech build, or if he is going to go straight into a starport after that. It'd be interesting to find out. He does have double gas, so I'm assuming he's going to go for some kind of double mech build, or either that, or look at this. No, he is throwing down double racks, so that is interesting. Wondering what exactly he's going to be doing here. We see that the Zerg still only has 1 gas, so they really just want to get that speed and maybe saving up just enough now to get that layer tech. Here we can see a bunch of Lings down here guarding the ramp. He doesn't want anything to sneak up past the ramp. Biscuit might at this point be expecting some kind of Hellion, but it looks like this is what that gas was for, is DeLoAdEr is going for early tanks, which is a very smart play, getting some early tanks, researching Siege Tech right away, so he's going to have 2 tanks, and by the time that second tank comes out, Siege Tech will be complete, and he will be able to siege up with 2 tanks already. So, but he definitely needs to keep some kind of ground force in order to keep the distance between the Lings and his tanks, because if the Lings can get to his sieged up tanks, then of course they're pretty useless. Here we go, Lings moving out, scouting out. Look at this map control by Biscuit right now, able to take, now that's the power of the Zerg, is having those cheap Lings, able to push them out all over the map and just kind of check everything out. And look at him going around, looking everywhere. Biscuit's here. He's going to grab another expansion, as suspected, you know, expanding out away from DeLoAdEr, where it's easier to defend. So, because obviously he can get to this base a lot faster from his main base than DeLoAdEr can. Whereas if he pushes here, this would be basically his front. And I would expect he might take this base next, although this might be a little bit safer play. Meanwhile, we see that DeLoAdEr is still putting out those tanks. He is getting stim researched, pulling out some more Marines. No Marauders yet, so which of course I think that's a wise play because he's going up against Lings. Marauders are not very effective against Lings. If we were seeing Roaches, then that would be more worthwhile. But the proper response from Biscuit, he is getting those Banelings. However, the Banelings won't have a huge effect if the tanks are able to siege up in a proper position, and as they won't be able to reach the Marines. And if DeLoAdEr is able to control his Marines well and keep them away from the Banelings, he should be all right. Although a lot of Zerglings coming out, we're seeing 18 Zerglings being produced there, and now look at the number of Zerglings here. Tons, two pages worth of Zerglings, or a page and a half worth of Zerglings here. So this is a massive amount. That's what is it, 24 per page? So we're looking at probably about 50. We can check real quick on the units tab and see what we got there. 44. So 44 Zerglings. We got four Biscuit at the moment, and 11 Marines, 4 siege tanks, and 2 Reapers for DeLoAdEr. Those initial 2 Reapers, just part of the initial harassment he was planning on. But here we see that Biscuit does have 50 drones compared to the 46 SCVs of DeLoAdEr, and he is on 3 bases now. Although not quite fully saturated at his 3rd yet, but he will be getting there soon if he decides to drone up. Playing a little bit safe, getting some more Lings, some more Overlords, and is he producing? Let's check the production tab real quick. No drones being produced right now, but he is spreading that creep very nicely. Now look at this nicely condensed creep tumors here. I've spoken about this before in some of the other games, but creep tumors are just so important, and by making tons of them, even way more than you need in a location, is far better. There's a lot of players that'll just put down that one creep tumor, and then they'll go from here to here and place a creep tumor there. But it's much better to place, look at this, see Biscuit throwing down many creep tumors all in the same area. And that's because if the Terran does throw it on a scan and he has a few Marines here, it's going to take him some time to kill each of these creep tumors that all have 50 HP, and that will slow down the push of DeLoAdEr, and will give Biscuit even more time to respond to what's going on. So here we go. There is a push coming out from DeLoAdEr, and he'll be aware of it as soon as he crosses this brush right here. And so he's going to step out over this brush and realize he's on creep, and this queen needs to pull back. So DeLoAdEr, now seeing the creep, he's going to slow down a bit, but he's going to move up. He's going to get a free queen, so that's a little bit of a poor play there by Biscuit, losing a queen for absolutely no reason. He should have pulled that back a bit, but look at this perfect surround from Biscuit coming in and just surround these Marines. DeLoAdEr pulling these back, but he's going to lose every single siege tank and every single one of his Marines. Just, wow, amazing play by Biscuit there, getting in there just the right time, and DeLoAdEr moving up. Just the little timing was a little bit off, and I guess he just wasn't ready for all these Lings that were just right here. And that's the wonderful thing about speedlings. They just move in so quickly, they give you very little time to react, and there was really nothing DeLoAdEr could do at that point. He was moving in for the push. He was hoping to keep him contained on the ramp and keep the Lings here, and that's why this is all very smart by Biscuit, is keeping the Lings down on the low ground where he does have time and he can move around to surround. He wants, oh, look at this drop from DeLoAdEr, me missing it once again. I'm wondering if this drop did even more harass elsewhere, but a very nice drop, although very nicely defended by Biscuit. Doing some economic damage, but not too much. And there we go, look at this. We had 15 drones being created at the same time by Biscuit, so he's definitely trying to keep up on the units there. We're looking at 64. We got 64 SCVs for DeLoAdEr right now, so he's actually doing quite well on the SCV count. So either that or he did some excellent harassment here that I missed. So let's go check real quick, and I can't even remember what it is. Is it, nope. I'll find it. I'll find it, guys. It is the... Oh, let's bring up Control N, and let's bring up Control R. There we go. So 10 workers killed for DeLoAdEr. So there's definitely some good harassment there. Only one worker killed, probably a scouting worker that was killed. And there's a little Marine, poor little Marine, caught lost from home, gonna get surrounded by some Zerglings and just completely chewed up. I think Zerglings just look so funny when they're speed upgraded. They move so fast. It's like they got some Red Bull, and look at this, Biscuit throwing down some creep so that DeLoAdEr can't take his third base, and then the Terran player deciding he's going to take this base as he wants a more forward base to guard with siege tanks and Marines. And that's a lot better, you know. So that's the thing is, when you're playing with the Zerg, you have a very mobile army for the most part. And here we go. He's going into Mutalisks. We're going into Mutalisks here. Biscuit did lose, is now supply blocked, unfortunately. So, but he is bringing up some more overlords very quickly, and he has 12 Mutalisks on the field, and he has some more being produced, I believe. No, not right now, but he is getting Zerg Attack Flyer level 1, and here he's going to move in. He's going to try to move in with these and try to pick off some of the siege tanks. However, very smartly, DeLoAdEr is surrounding his siege tanks with Marines to protect them from those Mutalisks, and those Mutalisks definitely do not want to fly over this. I suspect that at this point, yes, we will see missile turrets at every single one of the expansions of DeLoAdEr. However, that might not be enough. At this point, I think that Biscuit might have enough Mutalisks that he can just fly right over and take out the one missile turret and do some huge economic damage. And here he is. He's going to move in. Unfortunately, I think he's going to lose one of those. Nope, maybe not. He was able to save them, but he needs to be very careful about moving under those Marines as they can stem up and kind of catch up and take his units out right away. Although he may be trying to poke in there to try to kind of force the stim, because you definitely DeLoAdEr doesn't want to do a preemptive stim and just lose 10 HP on all his units for no reason. We see another expansion going down. We have a 4th expansion already up here for Biscuit, so we're soon looking at a 5-base Zerg. And once this, and there it is, the hatchery's up. So we have a 5-base Zerg on a 3-base Terran. So this is still anybody's game at this point. However, once these 2 bases get fully saturated, it's going to get to the point where Biscuit can just replenish his 200-200 army in no time. DeLoAdEr is at 200-200 and needs to make a push. He needs to make something happen. He needs to stop one of these bases. He needs to take it out. And so now he's going to move out. He's going to try to take some map control here, but these tanks need to be careful because Biscuit can come in here and just kind of pick them off. He is kind of inching up very smartly, moving one tank at a time, but he needs to be careful. Once again, there he goes, Biscuit just moving in and sniping, able to snipe a medevac, able to snipe a tank and another medevac. This is just very bad for DeLoAdEr right now, losing these units bit by bit. However, DeLoAdEr not too taken aback by that, as he is still at 199 over 200, and we see that we have a 200-200 army for Biscuit, and both players now saving up resources. However, Biscuit, of course, being a Zerg player and being on 5 bases now, he'll be able to replenish his army in no time as long as he's keeping up on his Queen Inject Larva. And there'll be no problem there. DeLoAdEr moving up, but he may have overextended himself a little bit. These tanks are going to do some massive damage, and these Marines very nicely wedging back against these tanks. Going to play very well here. However, look at this, the Banelings just moving in there, and the Infestors that came out, I didn't even see that he had Infestors, just able to completely mop up that army from DeLoAdEr, and that was an amazing play by Biscuit right there. And Biscuit is going to come in here, and as I said before, with this many siege tanks, with this many Mutalisks, or flying T-Rexes as we like to call them, he's going to be able to just move in there and take out the defense of those turrets. And so, of course, DeLoAdEr is now forced at this point in the game to throw down some more turrets, and here we go, yes, some more turrets here, and he definitely needs more turrets everywhere. DeLoAdEr is going to go and try to take another base here. Biscuit is trying to keep that from happening with the Overlord, but the creep was a little bit misplaced there and not right on the right location. However, these Mutalisks are now going to get some free kills on these Marines, and they're going to be able to work on this command center here that is morphing into a planetary fortress as it is so far from home. But very nice, as I mentioned before, very nice placement of these Overlords. I mean, if you just look at the area that is controlled, basically where you see red, that's where DeLoAdEr controls, and everywhere else there is purple. There are Overlords. There is control from Biscuit, just controlling the map, and he knows what's going on. He knows when an expansion is going down, and he's got to feel pretty comfortable about where he is right now, as he's just so far ahead at this point.